So hi, this is Stephen from Own or Disown, and this is our second episode of Have Your Say, where subscribers join me and talk about subjects that interest them. And I think this subject would be very interesting for you guys. We've all heard of the overheating issues on some of the Alienware laptops, and my special guest today is Iunlock. You may have heard him or read his reports on Notebook Review. So how are you doing, Iunlock?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I love technology. I live, breathe, and dream it every day, and been doing this for a long time with computers and cell phones and I've been in IT for a while. I worked a lot with intern for Intel at one point, and pretty much technology is my life.
Great. Yeah, I can tell by looking at some of your posts. It's been fantastic. I mentioned the Notebook review. It's been mainly about the Alienware 17, I think. Can you tell us a little bit about the history behind your work?
Oh, sure, no problem. Yes. So, as we know historically, Alienware has been kind of the poster child of the gaming laptop world for the longest time, and fast forwarding to recently, they definitely did shift in their direction, and so there's a lot of pros and cons to that. The quality and some of that stuff improved, while some other stuff did not improve. But we could say that for a different day. But yes, the issues that the Alienware has been having, not just with the newer models, the 17R4 or the 15R3, is the heat issue. And it's not just Alienware, it's across the board.
Oh, right.
Especially with the more powerful CPUs, with the Skylakes and the Pascal. They draw, Pascal chips, they obviously draw a lot more power than the previous generation. So, the heat is going to be inevitable. And a lot of these OEMs and companies that design these laptops, of course, there's a lot that goes into this behind the scenes. It's not just about creating something thin. It's not just about just putting something together. I mean, there are other factors that go into it. So anyway, we're trying to address the heat issues, and there are several things that Alienware or Dell have missed the mark on, and the biggest thing is the thermal paste. And I don't even think it deserves to be called thermal paste. We refer to it as toothpaste.
Yeah, I saw some of your photographs. Yeah,
and it's just really sad because one of the big issues is that the end user, the consumers who are receiving this product that has been, gosh, you could just imagine the amount of money that's went into research and development and developing this new heat, sink, or not heat sink. Well, I guess the heat sink as well, and also the cooling system in these new laptops, which is excellent, by the way. But they failed to.
No matter how good the cooling is, it doesn't. If the toothpaste, as you put it, is not very good, then it's not going to help, is it? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yes. So that was it's such a shame. It really is, and I feel really bad. I mean, for the end users, we pay thousands of dollars for a machine only to receive something that's going to hit thermal throttling right off the bat, out of the box. And again, just to be fair, this isn't just the Alienware Dell issue. This is across the board.
Wow.
And so it is what it is right now. We just got to hope that the OEMs hear our voices and take this into consideration and really vamp up on being thorough with their quality control and not take any shortcuts on the back end. They're doing a pretty nice job on the front end. They, meaning Dell, Alienware.
It's interesting you've mentioned the quality control, Iunlock, because I just got a computer in from Exotic PC, and they include some information, stress testing information and so forth. How does Alienware sample in an AQA? Do they do batch sampling? Take like 5 out of every 100 laptops and test it, stress it. Do you happen to know that?
Well, the details I'm not too familiar with, but just looking at it from the results, just from seeing the results standpoint of these units being shipped out that are, it's been literally almost 10 out of 10. Let's just put it that way. Every person that receives this unit, whether they are overclocking or not, if they're going to be doing anything CPU intensive and or GPU intensive, they're going to be hitting some kind of thermal throttling. And a lot of these, some of the folks that don't even, monitor any of this data, they won't even know what even happened,
Yeah.
but still behind it was really, they're going to be hitting some kind of thermal throttling. It's just it's been 10 for 10. I have not seen a unit that runs fine out.
What is the temperature at which the i7-6700HQ and the overclockable 6820? What are the thermal throttling temperatures? Do you know?
Well, it's going to be up into the 90s. Once it has a threshold. And if you go on Intel Arc, you can see all that information for the 67HQ and the 6820HK. But regardless, the issue right now that we're facing is that Dell is claiming that these 90-degree temperatures is acceptable, which is very baffling to hear. And so, we know, and as myself and others have demonstrated with repasting with liquid metal, and with getting under the hood and doing a little bit of work, you can get these temperatures down literally, 30 degrees Celsius.
That's incredible, isn't
yes,
it? So
very.
are you saying that the the 6700 HQ is also affected then similarly, yeah? It's not just the more powerful CPU.
That is correct.
That's correct,
And although the 67 HQ is much less powerful than the 6820 HK, the issue is that the cooling system is not doing its job because of the thermal paste and the contact. So there's two issues here. Number one is the quality, the lack of quality of the thermal paste that they're using at the factory. Number two is the heatsink, where it's not making an even contact between the heatsink, the cold plate, the die of the chips. So now with that, I mean, you're going to get any system to overheat, basically, right?
True,
because
very
it's
true. Yeah, and I see from your slide you're showing me here that the 17-inch and the 15R3 are both equally affected. Perhaps you could talk us through some of your pictures here and tell us a bit more information.
Sure, no problem. So this right here is one of the posts on MBR, and it's the disassembly repaste guide, and also showing the results of before and after. If you scroll down here, what I did right here is just kind of provide the different conductivity numbers here between the traditional paste and the liquid metal. I personally use Grizzly Conductonaut. I would also highly recommend the Liquid Ultra as well from Cool Laboratory. It works just fine as well. The Arctic Clean Solutions is nice to have on hand, but if you don't have that, no biggie. You can use just the rubbing out of at least 70%, I would say. And if you want to use a 91% one, that's fine too. But just keep in mind it evaporates.
I've got those two bottles, and I do put that surface preparation on as well. Does that actually make a difference?
Actually, yes, it dissolves the stock paste or any traditional type of paste pretty well. And that's why I like it. You just kind of leave it on for 30 seconds to a minute or so. And if you notice here, I'm recommending the Plus. This is absolutely the best electrical tape you'll ever use. It has a rating of 105 Celsius, so you're pretty safe. It holds up well. The integrity is amazing, and I recommend Super 38 because it is the thinnest among the rest. Like the Super 88 is pretty thick, but the Super 33 Plus. I like it because thin, stretchy, and has the same heat rating as the thick one. So it forms really well around, the chips when you put it on there. Yeah. So just briefly brushing through all of this, just pointing out, the screws and the clips and all that needs to be taken out. The disassembly is not too difficult, but you just got to be careful. If you do it too fast, you're going to be breaking off these little clips on the sides.
Yes, I see.
So this is the Alienware 17 with the GTX 1070, and you can see here. Now, here's one of the big issues with the design flaw, and a lot of us have been experiencing this. One of the things is and there's only a single arm here, as opposed to the two screws that are on the bottom. So this whole triangular design was a big no-no. All of this space here is all counting on the single arm on the north side of the cold plate.
So it should really have two screws there to replicate the back end.
Yeah. So they should have went with a 4-screw design. They didn't. Yeah, it is, there isn't a lot of real estate here to work with, but I believe that they could have, worked something here on the left side here. It is what it is. And, someone dropped a ball, obviously, in this department, and I don't know why they went with this design, but it's causing a lot of issues. Alienware and Dell is fully aware of it.
Okay.
They have seen MBR, they have seen this thread, seen all of this. I mean,
Yeah, it's definitely uneven
it
pressure
speaks for
there.
itself.
It does, doesn't it? It's a no-brainer.
Yes, exactly. There is kind of a minor fix for it, and it does help, but I have recently just also discovered that the issue is bigger than just that tension arm. And I'll go ahead and explain that here in a second.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description. Yeah.
But before we get to the heatsink issue, let's also talk about the thermal paste. And you can see here I took really close-ups of the CPU and the GPU die, and also the stamp. It's literally a stamp, and that it's just. I understand that they're producing a lot of these units. It's an assembly line, get it. But if it's not going to do it justice, and if people are going to be receiving that's overheating, then don't do it. I mean, you're sending out a broken product, basically, right? So, just look at that. It's a stamp, and
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
And this stuff is, I don't know what it is. I mean, honestly, it looks like toothpaste, clay, and it's not very good. But anyway, here's some shots of the GPU Super 33 plus electrical tape before we apply the liquid metal there. So again, you guys can go check all this out. But this was one of the. This is just showing the liquid metal application here. There you go, and there it is. So let me show you the temperatures real quickly. Before, as you can see here on the right, this one actually was ran at the stock clock. So, you're going to only see, that's why it's only in the upper 70s and 70s right there, as you see. But plus, you have to realize that 90s is unacceptable.
92 degrees for, the cool.
So then after the liquid metal repaste, and this is at 4.0 now. So even at 4 gigs at higher clocks, maximum temp is in the 66 degrees. Look here, you see the temp differential of 92 to 73 degrees, right? That's a lot.
That's a hell of a lot, isn't it?
20, about 20 degrees Celsius there.
And is that
as opposed to here, you only see a temp differential of 3 degrees Celsius. So how I was able to achieve that is by doing this.
So you're right, because I mean, I've tested a lot of laptops recently from different manufacturers, and they've often had 20-degree difference, regardless of if it was Alienware, whether it was MSI. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's been also experiencing this issue with the 6820 HK, and was that HM Scott over on MBR. He's been really tracking that down, and we kind of combined, the thread, if you noticed here.
Yeah.
As you can see, I mean, just from the polls alone, people are having a temp differential greater than 20 degrees. For the majority so far. So anyway, how I was able to get this temps evened out on the Alienwares is to bend this tension arm just a little bit up to create more of a tension, when you screw it down.
On the back end.
So as you can see here, this is a picture of it when it was bent. Here's a better shot as well. And again, you guys can go to the forum to check this out.
Now, the question that immediately comes to mind is, if you were to do this, will it affect your warranty?
Well, I won't comment on that. But honestly, this is an issue that we have to be doing. That's the point.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
And so if we take, because what Dell's been doing initially, and a lot of people have complained in their systems for an exchange, and even the new units, it wasn't a fixed unit. All they did was send out another unit to them, the same exact,
the same problem.
Exactly. So they're not really addressing the issue. They've already built this. They've already built the 1080 model. It's not like they can go back and redo the entire heat. That means not only do they have to spend, tons of money on that, which also is going to take time. Then they also have to spend tons of money on redesigning the motherboard.
It's insane.
right?
Yeah, I agree. Now you've been in direct contact with some of their senior management. Have they given you a timescale when things will be fully corrected?
Well, I mean, they were throwing out a couple numbers within a month or something like that, but there hasn't really been any. And I think at this point, uh, they could only tell us so much. And like what I was just saying, they can't go back and redo all of this. I
No.
mean, that would literally, I don't know. I mean, they would either A, have to come out with a new refresh, which I don't know what else they would do really, because we've pretty much tried it all. Now, I wanted to touch base a little bit about the arm before we move on to the next thing here. Although you bend the tension arm, what I have discovered is that the angle and the clearance of this, the lip piece here that touches the VRMs, I believe that to be too deep. So what's happening is this section here is hitting the VRM too soon. I've tried using a thinner thermal pad to put on top of these the chips on here on this side, but it still seems to be a little too long right here, and I think that's where the problem is. Now, granted, on my unit, it's fine. It's only 3 degrees apart, and that's because I actually ended up doing the arm trick and also using a little thinner thermal pad on this side to get a little bit more clearance. So it's working. But what I'm interested in is the long term, is to see if it's going to hold. And so far, so good. So we'll see, and I'll report back.
Yeah. Now, when you bend that arm up a bit, do you have to use a longer screw, or you just it's fine, just use the same screw and?
It's fine using the same screw.
Yeah.
And when you do lay it down, you should have a nice, a nice little gap there, so when you're pressing it down, you can feel confident that that you're feeling that tension being put onto that side.
That's perfect then. All right. Now, for the average Joe, is there any easy fix they could do? Perhaps putting copper shims on the heat pipes. Will that help a little bit? Have you tried that?
Yes, extensively actually. If you are using a shim, definitely use the thinnest one possible, like a 0.1 millimeter, and do not use liquid metal.
Okay.
You would want to use a traditional paste with the shim. The shim works very well. It really does. I've tested it, but the reason why I do not have a shim on my personal unit is because I choose to go to liquid metal.
Yeah.
Just because of the gains, and it's a big difference. But make sure to use traditional paste with that, because what you're going to do is, if you use a shim, now you're just creating a bigger gap. And when you have something liquidy like liquid metal, you're just asking for a pump out,
Yeah.
So,
no, that's good to know.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you had some numbers, some overclocking numbers, what you've achieved doing this method, and of course the temperatures have been well within spec, haven't they?
Oh, definitely. And here's an extreme test that I've done with a 15R3. Now, keep in mind that the 15R3 is the one that originally had this issue that a lot of the 15R3s were affected, and it's not so much the 17s, although they are also affected by this. But here is an extreme OCCT run of 11 hours. I left it on before I went to sleep, and I woke up and I was just astonished to see the difference. So, as much as we were talking about all the flaws and, all the temp issues and how terrible the paste, if you're willing to get under the hood, or if you're willing to we do provide a repasting and all that service as well, which I'll talk about at the end. But, if you have someone like myself or somebody else do it for you that knows how to do this, this is what you can have.
That's
a
fantastic.
System
60 degrees. Yeah. Poof.
Yeah, and this one, it was at 4.0 for 11 hours, and I used the Grizzly Conductor knot, which is the liquid metal. I replaced all the thermal pads with the Fuji Poly 14, and there you go. I mean, look at this. This is what it should be able to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
I mean, this is a 30. Let's see. This is more than a 30-degree difference from 99 Celsius.
It's insane. It's
right?
hard to imagine, isn't it?
You're right. And so, when we as a consumer on our end are providing information like this of what it can do, I think about how Dell takes that. There's really no wiggle room to justify anything, right? I mean, they got to be they should be providing systems out of the box that are running properly, even if it was in the 70s. I mean, gosh,
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt, because they produce a very
you know,
sexy laptop.
um,
It's probably one of the best looking ones on the market, I think, and it's hot demand. And it's a shame to cripple it with this thermal paste they have on. I agree.
I agree. And here's a stock run. As you can see, I was mentioning that 99 degrees. Look at the package temp here, 99. This was provided by Mobius One from MBR. So yeah, I want to give a big shout out to. This is kind of our little. This is our team here. Mobius One D X and Zerxlayer 69. Shout out to HM Scott. He's been just awesome on the forums. Very knowledgeable and informative.
Great.
A lot of great guys on the forum. Very, very, very helpful. So I want to give a shout out to you guys.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I mean, I've just started out, and I'm glad I can do my bit to pass on your very useful information to my viewers and anybody else out there. It is a shame that we spend a lot of money on these laptops, and sometimes you have to jump through hoops to get workable temperatures. So thank you to Iunlock and his team. Providing this information for us, and please feel free to contact him for any advice, or if you need any repasting doing yourself. And if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time.